did you know I was the one? Did you see vision?
The other day I saw vision.
I think there is vision.
I beg. Tell me everything. I didn't see any vision.
So how did you know?
Okay. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, Gideon and
Comfort Gideon.
So today we're going to be talking about that popular question young people ask. How do I know he is the one for me? How do I know she is the one for me? And remember, we don't teach, so we basically just share
our story.
We share our story, and maybe you can pick a thing or two from there. And if this is the first time coming to our YouTube channel, do well to subscribe and share the video with your friends, and so that we can.
And if you have questions, you can ask in the comment section.
Of course. So let's get into the meat of the day.
Yeah.
So how did I know you were the one, right?
Okay, yeah.
First things first, I remember before I even asked you out, right?
Okay.
I sort of had a conviction already. So I didn't quite ask you out with hopes that if it doesn't work, we'll jump out. That was not the idea behind my asking you out. So yes, yeah. So I took out. What happened was that I had a handful of female friends, a couple of them actually. I used to have a lot of female friends, and so naturally, I had to now start narrowing down who is the wife. I was in my final year. I was in my final year at the time, and so I took out time to pray. I began to pray, and later on, I started having ideas. I mean, you know how it is now. But I didn't want to just jump, right? And then so I don't jump in and jump out. So in that period, because I had all kinds of questions and fears, and so I prayed until basically most of those things were dissolved. That was the first thing that happened with me. Then I remember clearly I had there were certain things that were concerns for me, and I listed them out, and I went for a brothers fellowship, and we were, I think Pastor Isaac Atima was one that came to teach that day in fellowship, and he was just literally answering questions that I had written down, sorting out some things that I had written down, and I was like, wow. And I went back, and so that was it for me. That was the first thing that happened. The second thing was happening. It was like 2 years after we already started dating. Now we were having challenges in our relationship, and so I just wanted to pull out. That's the truth. I wanted to pull out, but somehow I kept asking questions and asking my mentors questions, and they kept simplifying things. And I remember clearly my mentor mentioned one time, it was like, is she born again? I'm like, yes. Is she a child of God? Like, does she fear God? I'm like, yes, I know she does. Because someone can be born again and not fear God, right? So that when you hear prophecies, it's like live by church or live Bible first. All of those popular, and she was like, So after you explained this to me, I think you just resolved it. So I just knew, okay, you know what, I have to just bury these fears and move. Yeah.
Yeah, the fear still there.
No. Now I remember I said I'd prayed, so most of the fears had the fears I had earlier had dissolved. These ones now were because of the challenges that we're having. I think we're talking about something about compatibility and all of that stuff. So yeah, and so at that point, when those counsel, my engagement with my interaction with my mentors answered most of those questions, I realized that hey, the only thing holding me back now was fear of unknown, not fear of anything that was evident. So we have to move forward in spite, regardless. So we moved. So that was what happened. I think those are the two things that happened with me, really. So
yeah. How did I know he was the one?
How did you know?
That actually sounds very similar to my story.
Okay, maybe because we're married, right?
Probably, I don't know. Okay, what how did I know he was the one? Okay, remember from the first video where I talked about how we met, right? I told you since the first day we met, we kept on communicating and we became friends, right? So when he asked me out, he was already my closest friend. So I remember I asked him a question, what would change? He said he doesn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know what would change.
So of course for me, I already knew that for me, relationship, my relationship was going to be a relationship without sex because that's what God demands of me, and I'm a Christian, so, and he's also a believer. So we started, and I think 2 years, 3 years into the relationship, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The first time he asked me to marry him, I said no. I said no. I told him he was not serious.
I remember.
So he asked me why. I said I was scared. Like I had some fears, cultural backgrounds. They're from different states, different language, and some cultural differences that I didn't know if my parents were going to be cool with it, and I didn't want to be in a fix of, okay, I want to marry this person, and they'll say no, you start dragging, start praying, start waiting. I didn't want that. And then secondly, I didn't know if his family were going to like me because they had never met me. Okay, before then, I think it was only two of them I had met, and it's only one of them that was very friendly towards me, so I didn't know what to expect, so I was scared. So he said we should keep on asking questions, and we continued, but in my final year, I think it was the third year, my final year in the university, we encountered some like challenges, frictions that I didn't even know where they were coming from, but I just knew there was this pressure. And you know, now that was the peak of my academics. I'm like, God, I can't do this. I remember then he suggested, okay, should we take a break, like maybe 3 months? Then when you are done,
I wanted to literally buy time, and so that by the time
I didn't even know.
And we're off, we're done, I've run.
And I didn't know. Yeah. It's now I'm realizing that he said he didn't want me, he didn't want it to interfere with my academics, so he wanted me to just graduate in peace.
Then we'll break up.
Yeah. I said no, I don't want that. If I'm going to take a decision, let's take it now. Yeah. Now.
I remember.
And move on. So we gave ourselves a period of 3 days to the decision making. I was in school, he was in Abuja, I was in Mina. So within those 3 days, I was praying, listening to sermons, messages, listening to music, yes. And the interesting thing, right, was that before the end of the 3 days, I think second day, thereabout, I had this peace of mind, like I had this conviction that he was the one. Everything that seemed like pressure before, everything faded, and I could reflect back to from the beginning of the relationship and saw where I made mistakes, right? And all those fears just died down at that point. I know the third day I went to see 2 of my mentors and had a conversation with them, but even when I went to them, it was no longer a question of what should I do. I already knew what to do. So, and everything they told me then reaffirmed what God had already told me when I was praying. So basically those were the ways I knew he was the one. I prayed about the relationship, and then I spoke to my mentors and had peace. And trust me, after that time, building up to the time for our marriage, our wedding, we had all kind of challenges from all angles, external angles, and they were all walkovers for us because we already had this conviction within us. So nothing anybody could say or do to us at that point was strong enough to break us. So that was how God helped us, because we already knew that we were meant.
Yeah, so 2 simple things, right? We prayed until peace, there was clear peace, and then we sought counsel. Yes. So that's it for today. In our next video, we'll be sharing we share with you how we reacted when we knew we were expecting a baby.
Please watch out for that video.
Guys.
And subscribe.
Yeah, and do not subscribe to the channel. Alright guys, bye.